Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Normal here, and in this video we're going to do a detailed camera review of the new Poco M3 Pro. So Poco M3 Pro is the latest device announced by Poco in India, and it's the successor of the Poco M2 Pro. Now in terms of camera, the Poco M3 Pro comes with a 48 megapixel sensor, it's a triple camera setup and an 8 megapixel selfie camera. So in terms of camera, the Poco M3 Pro is downgrade when you compare with the Poco M2 Pro. So let's see how the camera performs. Before getting it started, if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that red subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. First, let's have a look at the camera hardware. In terms of camera hardware, the Poco M3 Pro comes with a 48 megapixel primary sensor with f1.8 aperture. There is a 2 megapixel macro sensor with f2.4 aperture and a third 2 megapixel depth sensor. There is also an LED flash included. The front camera is an 8 megapixel shooter with f2.0 aperture. So let's find out how the camera samples are and how it performs in this price segment. First, let's have a look at the daylight shots. The 48 megapixel camera does a decent job in bringing good details. The daylight captures have come quite well with decent colors and sharpness levels. The dynamic range is also quite good, but not as perfect as some of the highlights are missed in shadows. But at this price segment, I would say it's a decent performance. Once again, the sharpness levels are quite acceptable, although they are not the best. This is evident when you pixel peep. But Poco has done a good job in keeping noise away in terms of daylight shots. Poco M3 Pro also misses out on the ultra wide angle camera, which is quite often found on most of the smartphones even in the budget segment. Moving on, the phone can also do some good looking close-up shots. And here also you can see the color reproduction is more or less accurate and does not oversaturate. The sharpness levels are also quite good. The phone also comes with a 2 megapixel macro sensor. It produces decent looking macros, but colors are not really accurate. The sharpness levels are decent, although some shots do tend to be over sharpened. But yes, there is a bit of noise in the macros which is evident here. Now moving on to the portraits. The portraits are quite okay and there is good edge detection, but the skin tones are a bit too whitish and there is also a tendency to overexpose the background. Now moving on to low light images. Here the phone does decent looking images in indoor well lit conditions with artificial light. But when light drops further, you can clearly see noise increasing drastically, which is quite common in this segment. This is where you need to switch to night mode, which brings in better details although noise levels are in great. The sharpness levels definitely improves. But in extreme low light, even the night mode doesn't help much and the noise levels are higher. Overall, considering the price segment, we feel it's a decent experience. Moving on to the selfies. Here the quality was just okay as the color reproduction was not good and turning on the beauty mode makes the images look too artificial. So it is better to turn it off. Skin tones are quite okay and dynamic range is decent, but colors could have been better. The edge detection in portrait selfies is also decent, although it does miss a few edges. In terms of video recording, the phone can do 1080p videos at a max of 30 fps. The video quality looks quite good. There is adequate sharpness levels and colors are also decent for the price segment. The stabilization is also offered and which is quite good. In fact, it provides a good stable footage. The phone misses out on 4K video and also 60 fps footage in 1080p resolution. So this is the front facing camera sample taken with the Poco M3 Pro, so it can record videos in 1080p resolution, so you can get just how good the clarity of the video is and also the audio output. So summing up, how good is the Poco M3 Pro in terms of camera? With the 48 megapixel camera, the Poco M3 Pro does a decent job in bringing usable camera at this price segment in daylight conditions. The details are good and daylight images have adequate details for the segment. The low light isn't a strength of the camera, which is quite predictable. One area where it misses out is the lack of ultra wide angle lens, which is quite common these days. Overall, if you look at the Poco M3 Pro camera, we feel it's more of a downgrade in terms of camera department compared to the popular Poco M2 Pro launched last year. So what do you guys think about the camera on the Poco M3 Pro? Do share in your thoughts in the comment section. This is Nirmal signing off with a camera review of the Poco M3 Pro. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.